So let's talk about optimism and pessimism. Now, a pessimist in these days, when it's so cold here in Minnesota, it's easy to kind of be pessimistic about the weather. So a pessimist would say, I hate this cold. I can't stand this cold. I always hated this weather. I never wanted to move here. I never want a job out in the cold. I don't want to go out in the cold. And it's just crummy and I can't stand it. Okay. So they kind of stay there with that attitude. An optimist, however, will be just the opposite. Well, the sun's out today. I can focus on that. The days are getting longer. I like that. It's getting closer to spring. I can be glad I have heat today. I can't control the weather, but I can control my attitude. So these are all things that we can work on. And these are controllable things. These are ways we can change our brain and be optimistic about life. I always encourage realistic optimism. In other words, this garden kind of looks like the garden I've had in the summer. It's certainly not very perfect and it doesn't look very beautiful all the time, but I can choose to look at those flowers that are blooming there. I can choose to look at the benches that are over there. I can go sit and be quiet in my garden for a little bit of time, maybe bring a book, and I can just enjoy the fact that it's there. And I don't have to focus on the weeds. I don't have to focus on the things that aren't blooming right now. I don't have to focus on the imperfections of the garden. What I can do is tell myself and others about the positive pieces of it. Okay, so the fence doesn't look so good, but at least I've got a fence and that keeps out some of the rabbits. Stop comparing yourself and life to the perfect, because perfect doesn't happen very often. And that can lead us, if we are always seeking the perfect, to be eternally frustrated because we haven't got the perfect. And so optimism is so important when you have some hard times in your life, whether it's raining or storming or what's happening in your life, to accept the reality that you have, because that is reality. And you may not be able to change that, but you can get some serenity, like the serenity prayer, to accept what you can't change. And that is so important. Otherwise, you're so frustrated trying to get what you can't change, like other people to change their attitude, other people to change their belief system, other people to do things for you. And maybe to change the things that I can change, which sometimes takes a lot of energy and courage, which is I can change my attitude. Okay, so case in point, last Thanksgiving and last Christmas, sorry about that. Those 2 days, those 2 holidays, we had pipes burst in our house. And if you ever tried to get a plumber on Thanksgiving or Christmas Day, very, very hard. But we were able to get one. And I was really nervous. I didn't know, what was going to happen, how much this was going to cost. But I was able to try to, focus on, okay, whatever is wrong, we're going to get it fixed. These are old pipes. They're likely to break. So we're just going to get them fixed now and be done with it. And so a couple months later, we're finally getting them fixed. And yes, it's costing a lot of money, but we did get some money through our insurance, and that's helping us to pay for it. So positivity, even in hard times. But optimism doesn't just come easy for all of us. It requires some work. It doesn't just happen. For some of us who are optimists and you're born that way, maybe it isn't so much work, but for many of us, it does take that cognitive work in your brain to reframe those negatives that you've got, to focus on the positives rather than the negatives, to believe in your future and not concentrate on the past, and to be able to change your stress-producing thoughts to stress-coping thoughts. And that is one of the primary things that I've given people in my counseling sessions that they've said that really helps them as they focus on that. So a couple of cases in point, I'm going to take one day at a time. I can do what I can do. I can't do everything, but I can let go of what I can't do something about. I'm not going to worry. I need to let it go. I need to focus on those positives that I do have. So that kind of leads you into a gratitude list. When you work on being optimistic, it's amazing how that kind of intertwines with joy in life and serenity. So having those positive statements to focus on, it can lead us to more joy in life. Smiling itself can release endorphins in the brain and lead to more happiness. It's a happy chemical. Laughing is a release of tension. This also can release those endorphins in the brain. Music and dance can lead us to joy. And finding serenity. How about living one day at a time instead of focusing so much on the past or way in the future? One day at a time. That's so hard for us in our day and age right now. To be able to enjoy one moment at a time, one breath at a time, appreciating, accepting. But that requires letting go of those other negative things, the sadness that we have, the anxiety, the fear, maybe the anger at somebody that we have. Okay? To let go of that so that we can have some serenity in life, some joy. And so to be able to achieve this state of well-being, this state of comfort, acceptance, peaceful existence in life, and gratitude for what you do have. Isn't this beach scene wonderful? That's what we need in the middle of winter. But if you can't have that beach scene right now, maybe you can pet your cat. I know that sounds silly, but petting your cat gives you a very joyful feeling, a very calm feeling. Or pet your dog, or be able to talk with your friend. That state of well-being is just so important to have. And some people, what I found in doing my therapy sessions, some people really need to find a meaning and a purpose in their life again, because they may have lost it and they've kind of sunk into depression and despair. A meaning and purpose in life, especially if you are trying to focus on helping other people, it really can be very, very productive for your life.